After you hear what I'm about to tell, you won't be able to enter a forest again. In 2007, I was an 8-year-old child. Now I'm 26. The story I'm about to tell is completely real and happened to me. We had a happy family. I was born in Bulgaria, in the city of Balhik. The place we lived in was a house inherited from my grandparents, right in the middle of the forest. I was a fearless kid. I used to wake up at 8 in the morning and play outside until 9 p.m. with the neighborhood kids. Our favorite game was hide and seek. During summer, we would gather around 9 p.m. and play in the dark. I loved the darkness, and even though it was scary, I enjoyed hiding deep in the forest and waiting for them to find me. I mean, what kind of child hides in the woods in the middle of the night? I guess I was either brave, or I thought I was. Every night we played and I returned home safely until one night. Again, around 9 p.m., we gathered to play hide and seek. There was a huge ditch next to our house where we threw our trash. Because there were no trash bins where we lived, it was an isolated place. That night, I had an odd feeling inside me. I didn't know exactly what it was, but something felt wrong. When we started playing, I went deep into the forest again, sat near the roots of a tree, and waited for someone to find me. Then I heard a whisper, "Look behind you." I didn't understand what it was. As I said, I barely knew what fear was. I looked back, and no one was there. I thought one of my friends was playing a prank on me, so I called out, "I see you. Come out from there." But in reality, I didn't see anyone. I just said it in case someone was hiding. Then I realized something. Normally, I would hear my friends calling each other from a distance, but there was no sound. I first thought they had stopped playing and decided to leave, so I wanted to get out of the forest to look for them. But I couldn't. I was walking, but the path wouldn't end. I walked faster, still nothing. Then I started running like crazy, but it was useless. I couldn't get out. I thought I was lost. My breath tightened, and I sat on the ground crying. The only thing I was afraid of was not seeing my family again, and that they would be angry with me. Then I heard the whisper again, "Look behind you." But this time, it was right next to my ear. I turned my head and I saw it, a tall, huge man, completely pitch black. His face couldn't be seen at all. That was the moment I truly understood what fear was. My tongue froze. I couldn't control my breathing, and my heart felt like it would burst out of my chest. I tried to open my mouth, but it felt heavy. I couldn't. My eyes widened in terror. I stood up to run, turned around, and he was right in front of me again. I didn't know what to do. He didn't react at all. He just stood there, staring at me. I was about to faint. We stared at each other for around 15 seconds. Then he started walking toward me. I backed away. One of his steps was almost equal to 5 of mine, but I couldn't take my eyes off him. I kept stepping back, but still watching him. Then suddenly, he started running toward me. I turned around and ran as fast as I could. I felt like I would never get out, but suddenly I found myself in the middle of the road near our house. I ran toward home. I reached the front door, and I felt a heavy pain on my lip. When I entered, my family was asleep. I tried to wake them, but no sound came out of my mouth. I shook them until they woke up. When my mother saw me, she screamed. She kept asking what happened, but I couldn't explain, because my lower lip had been split right down the middle. My father picked me up and rushed me to the hospital. They stitched my lip. The doctors asked what happened, but my family didn't know either. My father began explaining the situation while the nurses took me inside for stitches. After they stitched my lip, we came back home. Because of the anesthesia, I fell asleep immediately. The next morning, my mother grabbed my arm and took me to a religious healer so my speech would return. The healer began reciting prayers over me, then gave my family a talisman and blessed water. He told them, "This child has been deeply frightened. He has been touched by jinn and devils. Be mindful of that." My mother and father were in shock. We went back home, and my mother washed me with the blessed water and made me drink it. They kept asking what had happened, but I could barely explain. My father told my mother to close the subject and warned her never to bring it up again. 3 months later, I could talk again, but that cheerful child was gone. In his place, a scared boy appeared, one who wouldn't even look outside the window. My family tried their best to help me forget. They bought me small gifts to distract me. I loved guitars, so my father, even though it was difficult, bought a small guitar for me. I played with it at home, pretending to perform, and it helped distract my mind. Because for those 3 months, I could think of nothing but him. I couldn't sleep. I saw his face in my dreams and woke up jumping in fear. This continued for a long time. But financial problems began. My family couldn't go to work because I was terrified of being left alone. But how long could that continue? One day, my father told me I needed to stop being afraid, that I had to be brave, and that he was responsible for providing for the home. I didn't want him to go, but our food was running out. We were reaching the point of eating only stale bread. So, I understood what he meant, and I said, "Okay, Dad, you know best. I'm not that scared anymore." But in reality, I was terrified. The next day, I woke up and there was no one home. I got out of bed, got dressed, and picked up my guitar. I pretended to play and sing. Then the phone rang. I went to answer it. A woman from Germany was on the line. She said, "Alice, is that you?" I replied, "No, I'm her son." "Who are you?" She said, "My son. I am your aunt." "Your Aunt Mary." "My Aunt Mary?" I didn't know her at all. My mother only told me that she had married in Germany when I was a baby. She told me she was in Bulgaria, at the Balak bus station, and wanted to come visit us and drink tea with my mother. I told her she could come, but also told her my mother wasn't home and I was alone. She said, "That's okay, I'll come. It'll be a surprise for your mom, and you won't be alone," I said. "Okay, Auntie," and hung up. The bus station was about 15 minutes away by car, but even after an hour, no one came. I sat back on my bed, picked up my guitar, and started humming again. Then the doorbell rang. I opened the door saying, "My aunt is here." A woman was standing outside. She said, "Hello, I'm your Aunt Mary," hugged me, and kissed me. I was shocked. This was the first time I had ever seen my aunt. She looked exactly like the woman my mother had shown me in old photos. We went inside. She began telling long stories about her life in Germany. I asked her, "Auntie, why didn't you ever come before?" She said, "My son, I always wanted to come, but your mother didn't want me here. They had separated after a fight." According to my aunt, my mother never liked her husband and didn't want her to marry him. But my aunt was in love and refused to stay. She told me she had run away one night with him. While I was listening in shock, the doorbell rang again. I told my aunt, "Sit, I'll check." When I opened the door, an old shepherd stood there. He said, "My child, I live on the hill across from here. I passed by and got very thirsty. I couldn't find water anywhere, and I need to take my pills. It's already past noon," I said. "Okay, Grandpa, wait here," and went inside to get water. My aunt asked, "Who is it?" I replied, "An old shepherd." "He wants water," she said. "A shepherd, here?" I told her. "I've never seen him either, Auntie." I took the water to the old man. He was extremely thirsty and weak. After drinking and taking his pills, he said, "Bless you, child. May you always have water to give." Then left. I closed the door and went back inside. My aunt then said, "My son, I'm going to stop by the market. I feel bad coming empty-handed. I'll bring something. Are you coming?" I told her, "I can't, Auntie. I'm playing guitar." In truth, I was still too afraid to go outside. She said, "Okay, stay here. I'll be right back," and left. I stayed home with my guitar. After a while, the phone rang again. It was my mother. She said, "Son, we're coming home. Do you want anything?" I said, "No, Mom, but my aunt from Germany came about an hour ago. She came to see you." My mother suddenly went silent. "Mom." "Hello," she said. "Son." "What aunt? What are you talking about?" I said, "Mom, the aunt in the photo's the one from Germany." I could hear the shock in her voice. She said, "My son, your aunt died when you were a baby." I froze. I didn't understand. Who was the woman in my house an hour ago? My mother said, "Close the door. We're coming immediately." I began crying in fear again. When she arrived, I told her everything. She thought maybe it was a thief, but when they checked the house, nothing was missing. Then she opened the cupboard, pulled out the photo album, and asked while crying, "Was it this woman who came?" I said, "Yes, Mom. It was her." She burst into tears. I was terrified. Then something else caught my attention in the photo. There was a man holding a cane. "Mom, who is this?" She said, "My son. That's your grandfather. He died in that village. You never met him, but actually, I had seen him. The shepherd who came for water was my grandfather." I am 26 years old now, and even while writing this, my eyes fill with tears. I understood one thing. I was no longer that brave child. I